And really, the core of it is because so many times people ask me, "Hey, Pavel, what do you invest in? How do you invest?" And I really learned a bulk of my investing from you. And so it's a big honor for me to share the story of how you almost made me a millionaire. You Fallen Works, and would you recommend that, or what would you recommend for the younger generation that's so hungry? Like I meet so many young people, and they have Coinbase, and many times it only brings fruit after the seventh year.
Right.
And so what I've done to my mind, because I was always like that, I was like almost like day trading. I'm like, all right, everything's gonna crash. The Fed is gonna go bankrupt. I'm sure you've heard all these news.
Just correction
Yeah.
type. What I worry is how long it's gonna take to come back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Suits and Shoes. And in season 2, we have titled it Behind the Build. And the reason for that is to continue and share the wealth of knowledge and information leaders around the world have. And today I'm honored to bring to you Professor Che, who has over a decade experience in being a professor in economics, and in addition to that, has had a lifetime experience in running manufacturers and businesses and companies, and things from building submarines to signs. And really the core of it is because so many times people ask me, "Hey, Pavel, what do you invest in? How do you invest?" And I really learned a bulk of my investing from you. And so it's a big honor for me to share the story of how you almost made me a millionaire. So it all started freshman year of high school, or college, freshman year of college. I needed to take some summer courses to catch up, and I took your economics course. And this is where you got to listen to your professors. If I had listened to you, I would have been a multimillionaire today. I probably honestly wouldn't have started a company, like just the money I would have made. So you come into class and we had a conversation on the stock market and everything, and you're like, "Hey, there's this new startup company and they're doing electric cars and you guys should all look into it." And I went and looked into it. It was called Tesla. And I had just sold my Volkswagen at $9,000, and I didn't know what to do. And so I fought back and forth. I talked to my mom, I talked to my dad, who are kind of my financial advisors, and they're like, "Paul, will do it. Like, if your economics professor is telling you it's a good company, then you should look into investing into it." It was the longest week, and fast forward to today, that would have been worth millions and millions of dollars. I didn't invest. And so I want to dive in and just start there, because I think that's what the viewers and listeners want to know today, because there's so much going on in the world and it seems like it's so volatile where it's jumping up and down. Let's just start from there. What is an investment strategy that you Fallen Works, and would you recommend that, or what would you recommend for the younger generation that's so hungry? Like I meet so many young people, and they have Coinbase and Robinhood and all these apps, and they're trying to invest. So what advice do you have for the younger generation, and what strategy do you personally follow?
Okay. Well, thanks for the invitation. And first, I was in the Air Force, so I wasn't involved with the submarines, but more of a aircraft. So I guess I'm more of a long-term investors and investing in, and I see a lot of young people maybe more of like a short-term focused. It's more of I hear cryptocurrency a lot, and I do have a little bit of a cryptocurrency invested, but I think that the main thing is I want to emphasize is that I try to get the long-term investment, and always understand there's no free lunch. There's always risk associated with any type of investing, and you have to know obviously your risk tolerance based on your situation. Um, so as long as you have that basic foundation, uh, you talked about possibly opportunity cost of investing versus you setting up this company, and you are doing really well. So I can take the credit, which way you went. But frankly, actually, I learned the company from my student.
Really?
A couple years before.
Wow.
So I think being teaching school, actually, I learned so much from my own students too, and that's the benefit of I think just having a lot of time spent with the young people. There's always you can learn. So I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but yeah, basically no free lunch, long term. But you do have to pay attention to what's going on around you, and that's where economics comes in. You don't have to know so much about high mathematics or high level economics, but I think you should be able to kind of relate the basic concepts, and kind of you have to be able to learn how to do the critical thinking and be able to analyze and make up your own mind, because especially in investing you just follow the herd, what experts say. A lot of times it's kind of too late anyway. So I think that's the skill, discipline I think you need at basic.
Yeah. What do you mean by long term? Like, how do you define long term?
So in investing, okay, Nvidia is really really hot right now, and Tesla was kind of unknown at the time. Same thing. I may have told you about my experience with the Google. I started investing in Google in 2007, 2008. Yeah, and I got kind of lucky. There's always luck involved too. But when I buy something, most of the cases, I'm not trying to buy this and dump it like 6 months from now, whatever. I'm looking for some of the companies that I feel like I have to ask myself: is this company going to be around 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, 15 years from now? So I try to invest on those. Now I do have certain short term, something is hot. I do research, but I think you do have to kind of mix your portfolio with something conservative. You don't want to put all your eggs in something very risky short term that you could lose everything at any given point. So, but when I talk to a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people are kind of focused on that short term. If something is hot, somebody tell them it's something hot, but if that person knows, and everybody knows, basically, right? So
Yeah, I think Warren Buffett once said that if you're investing in something because it's hot or your barber's talking about it, it's already too late.
too late.
Yeah, the best advice I ever received on investing was to think of it like farming and a mango seed. So a mango seed, whenever you plant it, it takes 2 to 3 years just to grow into a sapling. Then it takes 5 to 7 years to grow into a tree, and many times it only brings fruit after the 7th year.
Right.
And so what I've done to my mind, because I was always like that, I was like almost like day trading. I'm like, all right, what's the next thing? When can I flip it? When can I sell it? And I forced to reprogram my mind to look at it in 7-year increments. Okay. Where is this going to be in 7 years? Where is this going to be in 7 years? And it was really inspiring. Recently, I had the opportunity to be a part of a new bank venture here in town, and I was presented the opportunity, and I was like, when do you guys think I'll see like a serious ROI in my investment? And they're like, Pavel, we'll be honest, at least after the 6th year. And they're like, if you stick around 7 years, you'll be very pleased with what you see. And I got the goosebumps. I was like, wow, like that's what I've been working to discipline my mind to think in 7-year intervals. And then as I started spending more quality time with the older generation, they look at it in 20-year increments. And so that's my goal now, is like, hey, how do I transition from 7-year to 20 years? So whenever you're looking at a company, what are some key points that you're looking to make that decision whether or not you're going to invest in it?
Well, in terms of like looking at matrix, I mean, obviously I'm looking at PE ratio, all that, what's available number wise. But I do actually, it's something that I try to be familiar with it. Um, if I have to talk to someone that, like say Nvidia, I don't know much about, obviously from the beginning, so I start reading the books, and there's a really good book called Chip War by Chris Miller. Try to learn the whole history of this development of transition to the semiconductor chips and how it got moved overseas, and all that. So I think that's probably basic, something you got to do. Get a long time ago. Sometimes, let's say you're going to invest in a toy company, and you got all these Wall Street people, very smart people. I mean, they have all these numbers, matrix, and they have all the tools they look at. But if you don't talk to the kids, like what's hot at Christmas. I mean, that kids probably know more about what the trending, right? So I think you got to do kind of both academic versus some kind of and then your gut feeling of uh, you got to decide, something. So
Yeah, it's almost like street knowledge.
it really is. You have to almost combine street and then academics, and then at the final, you got to kind of go with your gut feeling too, because
Notice there's like so much going on in the world, and it's like hard to sometimes understand because it seems like, I mean, it is news media outlets are very, very biased. And I will never forget something you taught us in class. How do you get a better perspective of what's going on in the world? Like, how do you get a better perspective or a different perspective of what's going on in the world?
Okay. So every morning when I wake up and before I go to sleep, I try to read just different, I guess, venues. So, I can read, say MSNBC or Fox News, BBC. I go to a Korean website. I can read and speak Korean, so I try to get their information. A Wall Street Journal, because we all have built-in bias, the way we grew up, where we came from, education, family, religion, and then I know all the outlets that you see. I mean, they have their own bias a little bit. Who owns, which company? Even those media companies. Different countries have a different look into the same topic. So I try to just kind of see all of them as much as I can. I wish I can speak Russian. I wish I could speak Spanish and read. I would go into that site to kind of get the most information. And sometimes it's surprisingly, I mean, you're talking about the same cup, but they're looking at completely different. Yeah. So, and you got to kind of wonder, okay, and you got to find another venue kind of see. So, at the end of the day, I try to just get as much information I can get and then use my own knowledge to kind of come up with my own idea about that. So I think the most dangerous thing is having strong bias and then just kind of go with the one. And I think that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, if only you knew how many different people I've taught that to. That whenever you first told me that, now it's been almost 10 years, or it has been 10 years since you first told us that. I've taught that to my parents. I've taught that to friends, family, even business owners. I marvel sometimes. They'll read a news article, and then they'll go and they'll make decisions and spread information based on one article, one social media post. I recently had someone come up to me and say, "Hey, Trump is missing. We think he died." And I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And he's like, "Well, I read this article by this newspaper." I'm like, "Well, did you bother to go on his Twitter? Did you bother to go on another news outlet?" Now we have AI and ChatGPT. You can just post and fact check it. And videos. And so there's a period, he was golfing for 2 days. And then a certain amount of medias, especially foreign medias, spun it that he's missing or he's died. And imagine if you have a family or a business or anything and you don't diversify that. So yes, ever since then, I've been reading multiple news outlets from around the world, especially I love reading European papers and magazines and social media accounts because it gives you a fresh perspective, an outside look, so that you're not too biased and you're not caught in an instance or moment of despair because you were almost like cult-like following one news media outlet. I wanted to also talk to you about a couple of different things, but most importantly, when do you know enough is enough? Because just listening to you speak about your money management and opportunities, I feel like you could have, and you can, go get another sports car. You came on a beautiful Porsche today, and you could have gone and done so much, but you always speak with such peace, and like you've reached a point in your life where you seem like you're really happy. Why I ask that? Because younger generation, it seems like there's no stopping. They want the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, the jet, and it's this grind and hustle culture that we're a part of. How do you know when enough is enough, and what helped you reach the season or the state in your life where you've reached this almost like tranquility?
That's a tough question to answer. I guess I never thought about that way.
But have you noticed like how the younger generation is so like hustle?
Yeah, and I think it comes from, like you were talking about, all this so much information going around. it's almost like you have to measure. See, when I was growing up, uh, I mean, we had a ABC, NBC, and CBS, major network you kind of watch, a couple of times a day. Uh, the person you compare it to usually like people around you.
Yeah.
But I really feel for younger generation because now you're not only competing or measuring up to people around you. I mean, you pretty much like everyone on social media globally, basically. And I think there's a lot of pressure and a lot of material things involved too. Um, I guess in my personal case, I'm happy where I am. I guess I could be more ambitious, but it's a family.
Yeah.
It's health is probably the most important thing. And I may mention to you what happened during the summer with my wife.
Yeah.
Something could happen, and we really appreciate you have your own children happy, healthy, your family's happy, have enough to retire. But it didn't happen overnight. I tell my students all the time, it's more like don't give up too early. We're talking about investing, going back to investing, or just compounding. The power of compounding and all that, it takes years or credit score. I mean, it takes years to get to where exponentially start going up.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of seeing that been seeing like last 10 years.
Yeah.
But before that, I mean, we always lived under our means in the house and the cars. And so I think you gotta be, patience. I think that's maybe something people need. Not a quick return. It can happen. Obviously, you take more risk.
Yeah.
At the same time, the risk comes with return comes with higher risk also, and people forget that sometimes.
Yeah, I like how you highlighted that. I had a similar conversation with my grandmother, and she had mentioned that back in the day, you lived pretty excluded from society, and everyone was kind of at the same level, and everyone was happy, and there wasn't that competition. Versus today, you have a world of influence, social media accounts, and that overwhelming pressure.
Overwhelming, yep.
And I think there's only one way, really, is just to disconnect. It's funny, we were at a big business conference this last weekend, and there was a really successful 9-figure individual there, and he pulls out a flip phone. And I come up, I'm like, can I hold that? I haven't seen one in 12, 15 years. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, it was just very basic. Camera, text, call. That's it. No internet, no data, no apps. And I asked him, I'm like, why a flip phone? And he literally said what you just said. He's like, I was overwhelmed and tired of the peer pressure of the world. Why would I continuously put myself in an environment where the world is putting this immense pressure on me? He's like, I reached a point where I'm 9 figures. I never have to work again. My kids never have to work. My grandkids, I think he said 4 or 5 generations, never have to work again. He's like, and I still felt pressured. And I'm like, well, what do? I still need some apps. And he told me about another phone. There's a smartphone today that's very basic. So it's got the camera, it's got text, email, and it's black and white. And so there's no social media on that. Do you feel like that's the route individuals to start taking today, like a complete disconnection? Or do you think it's possible to have a healthy balance?
I think a healthy balance because now it's a necessity. I mean, it really is a necessity to have a smartphone nowadays. But I noticed at one point when my kids were teenagers, they're all grown up, married now. We were at the restaurant and everybody had their phone, and you see that a lot actually at the restaurant. I know, like talking and just so. I put my phone away, and everybody noticed it or not, but they didn't. But I think I told my wife, we just let's not do that. When you should have a conversations, and same thing with like when I wake up in the morning, we tended to as a couple, first thing you do is like you check your phone instead of saying hi, right? So, but you do need it. I mean, I answer. My students call me, some of them, Mr. 24/7 because I mean they will get my text message from or email from 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Just whatever the hours because when I wake up to go to the bathroom at whatever time, I check my
Yeah.
email, and
Yeah.
somebody sent an email question. I can't go back to.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to my computer and I start typing,
Yeah.
which is kind of bad, but yeah. So I think you got to kind of have a good balance.
Balance,
Yeah, I don't think you can shut it off for one or the other. Now, if
Yeah.
you can, that's great, but yeah, then sometimes I feel like I'm become irresponsible
Yeah.
to respond and help.
Yeah, you touched a little bit on the subject of raising a family. Another challenge in our culture today is people are saying season. So I'm in a season of hustle and grinding, and then I'll be in a season of family. I personally think that's wrong. I think you need to have a balance between family, faith, health. We'll touch base on health next. How does your best feedback on balancing your career and your family?
Say again.
Like how do you balance your career and your family?
Oh, I don't think I was that good at it, frankly.
So what would you have done differently?
I would have spent even more time. Now, according to my wife, I was good father,
That's good.
That's a huge
but I
accomplishment.
wasn't good husband. Because of the time. So when I used to work international
Yeah.
marketing and sales, I was overseas a lot, like 2-3 weeks in every
Oh,
other
wow.
month, and coming back home. But I did go to and took my son to, my daughter to all the sports at a certain age. My wife went to all the school functions. So I think I did okay in that part with the children, but I kind of forgot, I took granted that, wife is there,
Yeah.
and I thought she's always there to do things.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about when I was gone, she was working and taking care of the kids and all the functions, and she was doing 75% of the work, and I was only doing 25% of the work, which is a lot. You just come back and spend some time with the kids. It's different than day-to-day grind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I owe a lot to her. That yeah. So
Yeah, I remember listening to a podcast about Jordan Peterson. He said to have a healthy relationship with a spouse, a friend, your children, you need to spend 90 minutes a week. 90 minutes a week in non-distracted communication or spending
I think that's a
time.
good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. Something I've been working towards. Before we transition into health, kind of tying in together the time management. There's kind of two, I think, versions I'm hearing about the economic outlook. So one category of people today are saying there's a Great Depression on the horizon. Everything's going to crash. The Fed is going to go bankrupt. I'm sure you've heard all these news headings. And then there's another category that are almost like naive, thinking, oh, the good times will last forever. From an economics and your professional expertise, what is your economic outlook for the next 10 years?
Well, it's kind of similar to life too. Economic, there's always a cycle, right? What goes down has to come back up, and what goes up, it's gonna come down. So, and life is the same way. So right now, I think there's a lot of uncertainties because of tariff policy, and then all the things going, not just the U.S. I mean, everywhere, what's going on. So I'm a little bit more conservative, I guess, more on just make sure if some. This is what I've been telling my students actually. If it doesn't happen, it's great. But I think there's going to be a little bit of a bump, maybe next year. So it's better to be just get ready. I'm not talking about I mean, I'm not talking about. I'm just saying maybe some kind of adjustment or correction type, that it's better to be ready for that, depending on your situation. So I tell my students, if you have a job right now, yes, going to school, you are here to for the future, long term. But the short term, I mean, work hard, make as much money as you can, maybe minimize the spending.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you want to buy something, maybe hold on to a little bit until things get more clear. If you're an investor, and like me and my brother talks almost every other day, he retired already, so we talk about the investment a lot, and we're trying to minimize the drop if it drops, and then have enough cash to go in if it does go down for just like what happened during the COVID.
Yeah.
So you can actually use the down cycle as opportunity to actually do really well. So, but you got to prepare. You got to be, like I said, one step ahead of consensus, because a lot of times you follow, everybody knows, and it's usually too late.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's really interesting that you say that, because I love following closely the Warren Buffetts of investing. And we have a really big local investor, and I had the chance to go have lunch with him, and he had mentioned that he's laid aside 9 figures worth of capital in anticipation for a correction, a dip, or a depression. However, he thought it was going to be a Great Depression. What's your professional expertise on that? Do you think there is a Great Depression awaiting the U.S. economy, or do you think it's just going to be a continuous cycle of what we've seen over the last 30 years?
I hope not. Yeah.
Me too.
No. Especially at my age, where I'm getting close to the retirement age, I don't want to see that kind of correction.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more of just correction type. What I worry is how long it's going to take to come back.
Yeah.
The opportunity cost, right? So I remember I missed out on 2008. 2009, Great Recession. I think a lot of people lost money. Either they borrow money to invest, or they got panicked and had to sell. Now, if you kept the money, it took 3-4 years to come back until like 2012, and then it just took off until 2019, until the COVID happened. So if you kept the money, you actually made a lot of money then. But the 3-4 years, if you had a cash to buy in, even then, it could have been even better. So I may have told you this story before. About 2019, during the summer, I was feeling kind of uneasy with the whole market at the time, and what was going on, the Brexit going on, and globally, but you hear, it was just going up, and you couldn't pull the money out. And I finally decided, okay, nothing else. I was thinking about the cycle.
Yeah.
It's been going up for like 10 years. Yeah. It's got to come down. So I need to pull some money out. So I started cashing in all the returns I had for like whatever.
Wow.
And I had no idea about the COVID. So about November, December, I was pulling money out. And nothing happens, and then it kept going up, just like right now. It's such a similar situation right now. Yeah. So it kept going up, and then going to January, it's still going up. So sometimes you feel like, okay, did I
make the right decision?
And then, reading other, I was always reading. So, and then a blip on early January on Korean newspaper, there was a story about some mysterious virus. There's the city called Daegu, big church that they went to China and came back, and turned out there was a #1 case of COVID.
Wow.
So they were talking about it, and it's like spreading. But when I read all the U.S. media,
nothing.
So, what's going on here, right? And I was kind of waiting, and then nothing happens, and then it hit Europe, Italy. And I remember, I think it's like middle of February, over the weekend, it just blew up. Yeah. And stock market went, I think it's like February 19th, I can't remember the exact date, but it started going down. Yeah. So, so I was putting big chunk of money, the dollar cost average, because I don't know when it's going to bottom out. Yeah. So I was putting this certain amount every week. I was buying in
as it's coming down.
Because I didn't know how much it was going to come down. But turned out, it came back within a few months. I don't know if
it was
2020.
fast. Yeah.
and then March 19th or 20 was the bottomed out day.
Yeah.
It went down for a month. It went, I think it's like 35%.
Yeah.
And then start going back up because of vaccine, all that.
Yeah.
You know, so you do the math. 35% down. Like if you buy at the bottom and you go back up to where it was before,
Yeah.
that's a 51% gain. Okay, so I kept buying.
That's a lot of play money.
I kept buying, and then it went back up. It's 51% gain and whatever, and then it took off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I tell my students, I'm not bragging. That's not it. But it's like I said, I had no idea about the COVID, but I followed the principle of dollar cost averaging. You know, I just kind of went with my gut feeling about this cycle.
And then reading the foreign newspapers. I mean, that's huge.
And it turned out, I mean, that was once in a lifetime for me to really boost the portfolio. So COVID, I mean, that financially that was good for me, good for the family.
They say you only need one good shot.
Well, that was it. And then, and I've been feeling kind of similar with this year with the policy, and I've been wrong so far.
Yeah.
So I moved the money to conservative, and it still went up.
Yeah.
It's the highest. So I'm thinking, okay, if I didn't move to conservative, I'm actually better. But I got to tell myself, okay, stick to your gut because you can't be too greedy, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to make a correction. I just don't know when.
Yeah.
But if it does, I'm going to lose probably less than what I had it so aggressively before.
Yeah.
So I may be wrong, but I'm okay with that.
Wow, I love that story. That's inspiring.
Yeah,
I think the strategy you just laid out is what I've seen a lot of really big investors follow. And many times I ask legacy companies and legacy leaders, how did you know? And they quote exactly what you said. It's like you piece all this data information. One really successful individual, he said, it's called his bucket of data. So he takes his bucket and he collects data from all over the world. Mm-hmm. He puts it in a bucket and he studies it. Then he says he puts it on a chart and he sees what the chart says. And then he'll think and whatever his gut tells him based on what the data points that he found. Mm-hmm. And he said he'll take data points from foreign newspapers, friends and family, what he overheard some kids at a restaurant, what videos are trending, and he'll gather all of this data, and then he'll let his intuition make a decision based on that data.
Yeah, and then sometimes too much information is not a good thing either.
Yeah,
and as a leader, and I tell this to my students too, like say you're a soldier and you are out fighting somewhere. Yeah. You will never have 100% information to make a decision. Yeah. Right? And just like managers or leaders the same way. I mean, if you have 100% information, why would you pay somebody a lot of money? Because anybody can do it. Yeah. They have 100% information. So sometimes you're going to get, 60%, 70%, 80%, but be able to use that educated guess and make the hard decisions. And sometimes it's going to be wrong. Yeah. But that's where I think the leadership and the followers kind of separates there. Yeah. That it's going to impact whatever decision that leader makes. It's going to impact everybody. Yeah. Good or bad sometimes. Yeah. So,
that makes sense. Transitioning into health, you've had 2 ACL surgeries, and you came out good. And I noticed how serious you take health and the results of that. We live in a generation where everything is processed, everything is fast, fast food, fast social. How do you stay healthy in a time and age like we live today?
That's one thing that me and my wife, we've been really active in terms of exercise. I guess the last 10 years, we've been going to like hot yoga. That's why we wake up really early, 4:30 to go 5:30 a.m.
Wow.
Yoga used to, and right now, like this morning, I went to Matter and played 6 a.m. Pickleball.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's not it's hard to wake up that early, obviously, if you're not used to it. But I think it's a matter of you just keep doing it. It becomes your muscle memory too, right? So, and there's something about, like I said, something about the exercise that it gives you a lot more energy. I mean,
Yeah.
when we work out early in the morning, you have energy for the whole day.
Yeah.
And we've been telling my son, he's I think a few years younger than you, so I challenged them on pull-up,
Nice.
and I kind of egged him on. You
Yeah.
will never beat me, pull-ups. And he texted me, go, guess how many I got today? So I better go back to the gym. I gotta get back on my pull-ups, right?
Yeah.
Because he's catching up.
That's awesome.
And now I see him. He's getting excited. He's going become regular at the gym.
Yeah.
And now to a point like he's going to continue.
Yeah.
But I think go over that becomes automatic.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people give up before, and that's
Yeah.
where I think it really needs a spouse or friend or somebody can do it with you. I think that's really helpful. But the people need to go out and exercise. And,
Yeah. I recently thought that, I'm in the season of building a company, and that's one thing that I regret is not taking my health more serious. And 5 years flew by like that, and I'm like, wow, I'm really out of shape. Like I went and I took, I think it was like 2 or 3 flights of stairs, and I was out of breath. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. Yeah. And so I picked up boxing, and so now I force myself to find time to do boxing, and I want to. I have 5 years to make up for now.
Wow. Okay.
That kind of leads me to the final section of our podcast, which is regrets. You have lived a fairly successful life, and you had mentioned earlier, you wish you would have been a better husband and spent more time with your wife. What are some other things, more so financially, that you wish you would have done differently that you could advise the next generation to take serious in this 25 to 35-year-old season of their life?
My recommendation to next generation. It's not so much about my regret, but looking at what's really changing. Everybody knows AI is going to have a huge impact to next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I, even like in my profession, say, students are using it to cheat exam and stuff. But at the same time, like I want to say, embrace the technology, because if you don't know how to use them, you're going to be left out. Yeah. And all the things that, like just like a calculator or Excel program, the more you know how to use them, your employers will be more hireable, obviously, or you can have your own business. I think it's something that, really people need to learn. It is application side of it. As far as my regret, I guess I could have been a little bit more ambitious instead of being just kind of satisfied with how my career kind of progressed out. I don't think I was giving like 100% money-wise. Yeah. I wasn't one of those person like money. How much money I make is measurement of my success. So I guess kind of balanced out a little bit, and I don't have any regrets over being a military and then doing international sales and just having but different type of work. Yeah. But I guess I could have just kind of went with one career. Yeah. More focused. My brother did that. My brother was one company person. Yeah. Went through the whole 30 years with one company, and he did really well. Yeah. So I think young people now have a lot of choices to make. And whatever they do, as long as you're positive, have a good attitude about it, there's always a stress. So I ask my students at the very beginning of every semester, you probably fill that one out too. I'll probably have your information probably, template, name and thing, and then like, what do you want to do in the future, academically or career-wise, or if you want to go back to 5, 10, 15 years, like what would you do differently? Yeah. And you know what top 3, like the number 1 I hear from, if you can go back 5, 10, 15 years, is that it's the peer pressure. Wow. It's something that they wish that they didn't have so much care about what other people say about them. Wow. Especially in high school. Yeah. A lot of bullying going on and all that. And my take is that there's going to be an obstacle. The peer pressure is always there,
Yeah.
regardless of you're 30 or 40 or 50 in your industry, your work,
Yeah.
always. So recognize that and don't have the same regret 10 years from now, looking back and go, I wish I'd done differently.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I want to tell the next generation.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So just,
Yeah, I think it sounds almost like something I once heard was, what is life? The enjoying of passing of time. And so if you're under that pressure of society or social media or peer pressure, you're not enjoying the passing of time. But if you're living your life to the fullest and you're enjoying the passing of time, I can't remember if it was one of the economics courses I took, I can't remember if it was yours or one back at the university, was there's an economics theory where every decision is the right decision because you made that decision based on the information you had in that moment. Is not so much like regret the decision you made, but enjoy the very moment that you're living in, regardless of what the world says or thinks about you. The final section of this podcast, called Suits and Shoes, we talk about clothing. I recently hosted a group of bankers. I think it was a $8 or $9 billion bank, and the executives come in. So when I'm told there's an almost $10 billion executive team coming, I dress up the way I was taught, suit, tie. They come in jeans, khakis, and polos.
I hear that a lot nowadays, yeah.
What is going on, and is this the official change? Like, are you seeing it amongst professors?
Yeah, definitely.
Just casual?
Yeah, very casual. I don't think anybody wears suits. On Fridays, actually, I wear jeans.
Nice.
Blue jeans. Yeah, I'm dressed up right now.
I still do.
Students are probably wondering why Mr. Che, Professor Che, like dress like this. Yeah, I mean, I do dress probably more cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every day, but. Yeah, I think overall, industry is a lot more casual. I remember, spending so much money on dry cleaning when I was working other companies, but now I don't go to dry cleaning.
Wow.
Rarely. So yeah,
just polos and
and I think it's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I'm very analytical, so whenever I look at trends, I always expand them on 10, 20, 30, 100-year terms. And so whenever I look at clothing and the way it's changing and I extend it to try and forecast it, for me it seems like we're going downhill.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a law of diminishing return or point of no return.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're right there at that point. I feel like the moment a professor's coming into, or a banker or anyone's coming in shorts and a tank top, I feel like that's crossed the line.
Right.
So do you think it's like a business cycle where it'll bottom out, or do you think it's going to keep getting more and more inappropriate?
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, that's just the way my brain works, and I can't shut it off.
Personally, I don't want to go down more, obviously. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be the line. I think the professional,
I have technicians that come and complain that they can't wear shorts and slides. I'm like, guys, you're welding. You're welding. Why would you want to come in short? You're welding and grinding.
I think it's always better, always better to be prepared, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're getting a job interview. It's better to be overdressed to me than underdressed. So I don't know if I told you this story or not. When I was interviewing for this manufacturing company that used to make a lot of signs, I went full suit, tie and everything. And then when I got the job, I went to my office the same way, suits. And then I was on the floor and talking to those guys, and they wore jeans and all that, and I wanted to kind of mingle with them and me wearing suits, walking on the floor, it just didn't. They couldn't relate to me.
Yeah.
So on that part, I started dressing down.
Yeah.
Especially if I was kind of getting to the different departments to kind of learn the job, and I want to be one of them.
Yeah.
So I started wearing just like that when I was, sanding and all that. I was doing with them, to learn the job. But yeah, definitely, I think there's a line that you gotta keep it professional in certain jobs and certain positions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any last words or ideas that you'd like to share with the next generation?
Yeah, it's just kind of repeating myself, but just be positive. I mean,
Yeah.
you wake up in the morning and you have a choice, right? Either be happy or you be very grumpy.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to be. I mean, it's hard sometimes. Everybody has obstacles.
Yeah.
Things happen, but if you have to make two choices, I think it's better. You're gonna have a better day. Just kind of making it as I'm gonna be positive today. Be kind. You're gonna run into people with the differences, but that's the
Yeah.
differences. You know,
Yeah.
me and my well, you met him,
Yeah.
Dr. Roger.
Yeah.
We have different views on certain things.
Yeah.
Politics, you know, but we're always respectful. We have a good discussions.
Yeah.
We'll never mad at each other,
Yeah.
you know, because we respect their own, you know.
Yeah.
I think people lacking a lot of respect nowadays for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that you gotta, before you judge people, I think you gotta have a kind of mutual respect. But at the same time, you know, first day of my class, all my classes, I say, respect is something you have to earn. You know, you have to earn my respect.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I have to earn your respect. I can't just
Yeah.
tell you, just because I'm, you know, a professor, I'm going to tell you do this and this and this. Learning from managing managing companies,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a short term.
Yeah.
If people really want to follow you, you got to somehow motivate and you got to earn their respect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
I like that.
my last point.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. To just recap it, as you can see, there's no mad science behind investing. Think long term. Think 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. Where is this company going to be? Shift your perspective. Stop getting all your information from a Snapchat news feed, but explore other avenues, other views, expand your horizons. And then, of course, like always, stay positive, stay excited about life. And if you have a unique story you'd like to share, comment in the section below or go to pavelbosovik.com, submit a form. I'd love to share your story on our podcast. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, it shows about 50% of our followers have not subscribed. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification. It helps us a lot and gives us the opportunity to continue to share inspiring stories. Thank you, and until next time.